I'm baking in the X Club right now. Can't really see anything. It's all about riding that bike for 60 years at this point. It's something that you don't ever really forget. So anyway, I'm starting to clear stuff out, and should be interesting to see how this turns out to be a little grow room. Although I don't feel very safe in it like I used to, people. Right? This has been here for a long time. It, what's the date? I think it's July 28th. July 28th of 2022. Anyway, it produced a lot of trees, including the warrior tree. Right? I have trees all over my yard. Mostly alive. And, you know, it's sprouted a lot of vegetables. And so now it's going to go more into, you know, experiment with hydroponics to some degree. Whether you use aeroponics in terms of with irrigation with the water bubbles in the water to irrigate so that the roots can breathe, or whether you're using just this straight up no energy, nothing, the cracky method, right, that uses a float valve to keep the water level intact as the roots are, you know, sucking up the water. Whether we grow them in clay pebbles, these plants, or whether we do it in perlite or whatever, or whether I'm going to have some in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever in dirt, right? And then of course I have to figure out a way to try and insulate. I mean, it's nice and warm in here right now. As a matter of fact, it's too warm. But besides that point, you know, I don't think I could grow anything in here in the middle of winter, unless of course I really took the time to try and make this one particular corner, this one here, I'll show you in a second, you've seen it before, really well insulated. And I don't know how possible that is to even do. Although that's the area that I'm going to insulate the most. As for everything else, in terms of just general repair, you know, it was a broken down porch when I moved in. In a lot of ways, it was my family that saved it, because if it wasn't for the X Club people, this, whatever's up on top, wouldn't be here anymore. It would have fell off a long time ago. And when it fell, it would have busted up the actual porch itself. But because I've got the X Club here, I have a bookshelf here since it's been built, in terms of quote-unquote the X Club, right? So it's been holding up really good. I'm really pleased with this room. Never had a problem with mold, right? You know, there's ways of going around it in terms of, you know, some years I've used just a 60-watt bulb or a 40-watt bulb hanging with it going on, right? And then what it does is it neutralizes the mildew so it can't grow into mold. And everything just kind of goes into a dormant state. So you don't get that overgrowth of mold, right? As if you didn't have the light. But then on other years, I haven't ran the light, and just the way I've blanketed things and stuff, right? And just overall, I guess, how it's insulated, it's been holding up pretty good. And I'm looking forward to trying to attempt to accomplish something here that can actually produce food right up until, well, end of fall. I don't expect it to go through the heart of the winter months, because I don't think it will be insulated well enough. But doesn't mean you can't take a couple, 1 or 2, 3 plants inside after the fact and keep them under grow lights, right? Until maybe early spring. Because you only need like a certain level of warmth for, and of course some plants are hardier than other plants, right? Like the broccoli can grow in colder weather. Apparently cauliflower can. I would suspect peas can. Potatoes can coexist with cooler weather. I'm just gearing myself up. If you notice, I'm sweating. I'm sweating. I'm just clearing out, getting ready. My son came to me and said, "Gee, Mom, is there anything that you gotta say in terms of your feelings to me?" I told him to go away the first time. Get out of here. All right. And then he hit me up again yesterday. Right? And, well, come on, Mom. Is there anything you want to say to me? Get it off your chest. All right. I just told him I was really mad at him. He said he knew. I said, yeah. I said it didn't help when I had that dream. You know, I mean, obviously that egged it on, and obviously there's lots of pressure going on right now, but at the end of the day, you know, I told him I kind of want to work my way out of this house. And when Uncle John was alive, you know, when Uncle John and I, we made that decision that we were leaving someplace, you know, it would take me a year to pack. Let's just put it that way. It takes me a year to pack. When we move, it takes me a year to unpack. Mainly. I still might have a few things not unpacked, but the majority, 3/4 or a bit more of the house is unpacked after a year. But it takes me a year to pack up. At least, when it's in my mind, that's what I'm going to be doing, right? Right now, I'm just wanting, I told him, like, you know, right, it's a hard house to live in, people. Seriously. Getting kind of tired, right? And, you know, there's certain things that need to be repaired that aren't being repaired. And so, but I'm trapped, right? So this is what this is about, is to make it so that you can coexist with your immediate environment and not feel so vulnerable in terms of locked in without any avenue to help yourself. Learning how to do hydroponics and whatever method you do it with or whatever, you know, it's just one method of learning to help yourself in terms of, you know, maybe you won't grow as much as you need for a year in a situation like this. But then that's not true, people, because if you could get into microgreens and learn how to do those successfully, back to back to back, you could coexist on those microgreens in terms of like the nutrients that you would need from a vegetable on a regular basis. If for some reason there is no vegetables in the grocery store. The only thing is you have to replenish your seeds. So obviously, if you can learn to do some of that on your own, and I'll give you, for example, beets. I didn't know this, but, you know, I'm working on this, so I'm, okay, well, you know, like, anyway, I came across some information where beets don't actually seed until the second year of being in the dirt. So I've got a few beets growing, not because, you know, I need beets or anything like that, but anyway, you know, I'm going to leave several of them for next year and see if we can get some beet seeds next year, right? And then this way, you could use those seeds for microgreens, right? Because just like there's a shortage of other things in the food chain or supply chain, I would suspect that those kind of seeds that produce microgreens will become harder to get as well. So the more you can try and replenish your own seeds by learning the different plant cycles, the better off you'd be. So that's part of the exercise, right? And it just makes life a little more bearable. But of course, you know, I don't feel safe. I used to feel safe. I never felt threatened in here, people. Mm-mm. But with this unresolved situation with court and, you know, it's the ongoing gang stalking in general, and then to throw in Julian's sister to boot, where she's brazen enough just to come into my yard randomly at any time of the day or night, if she just happens to be in the neighborhood. You know, it's disturbing. That's when I say I don't feel safe. I don't worry about the paramedics. I don't worry about the courthouse. I'm not worried about social services. I'm not worried about the homeless people in the neighborhood. I'm not worried about my neighbors trying to bust into the X Club and ruin it, people. But I am worried about Julian's sister trying to do something like that just to be vindictive. I don't care if she's watching these videos or not. She deserves what she gets talked about, because that's the kind of individual and the shit that she provokes. Right? So outside of that, I think it's going to be quite the little exercise, experiment, playtime, whatever you want to call it. You know, the X Club / greenhouse / painting room. It's been more of a greenhouse and a storage room than anything else, really. Right? But this might, you know, depends on who takes interest. If they were hungry and they wanted it because they couldn't go buy it, they'd be knocking at the Mom, what you doing in there? Oh, that looks good. Can I have that for dinner? It wouldn't matter if it was Tisha or Marcane. But because it's still readily available in the grocery stores, you know, and affordable. It will always be available, I think, in a grocery store, but maybe not so affordable. By doing it this way, even though you spend initial money to set up, in the end, over a period of, you know, time, right, it becomes affordable. I mean, you learn to, my son's, oh yeah, so anyway, I said, well, you know, just don't throw anything out. Let me just pick through it first, and I need you to help me in the back for a couple of days and whatever, right, with lifting wood and, you know, just doing whatever, right, because I'm weak. I told him that, right, I'm tired, you know. So he said he would, so we'll see. Still mad. I'll probably be mad for a long time, because I go downstairs, I look around, and I just as if I got energy to be dealing with this shit right now. But I told him I was in agreement with it in terms of, you know, I did say I would go get a storage room. Right. So, out with the old, in with the new. Let go some of the past. I don't know. Right. Ease the load so when you leave, it's like easier to get out when that time comes. Right. But I'm not getting out anytime soon. It's going to take a little while longer. Right. So this is just a buffer. This is what this is. Just a buffer. It's to help you get through it. So what's going to happen here, I will continue to take this stuff out. I really don't want to take out this, but I don't know how I did buy 2 racks. I think I've already lost a piece somewhere, so I don't know what's going on. But besides that point, this is what I'm going to insulate in here. You'll see, I'll walk you through it when that time comes. I want to keep this here for, you know, a little AMA. And then, of course, Kyrie would be old enough for that next year, right? So there's, you know, it remains to be seen, though, right? I might not be able to put racks in here. It's hard to say. I'm going to end up taking this off and washing it, okay? Just getting it ready for the next winter, for winter coming up. That's what you do. And then what happens is everything pretty much stays nice, right? It's nice. You protect it pretty much from the elements. And this smells like, believe it or not, kind of like hay. I don't know what else is in here. Just whatever. And I'm taking out the drums, these ones. And I'm making way for, like, it's all for science experiments and stuff. When I was working with the kids, never had a chance. If you want, you take a bag and bag up things. By the time you get in there, open it up, it'd be like, you put it in there yesterday. But you have to do stuff like this. And if you can, and if you want, you just run a 40, 60 watt bulb burning through the winter, and it kills mildew, it prevents the mold. Right? Oh boy, I don't know. Hold on. Okay, so it's getting dark in here now. Well, at least it is for me. I got the 2 racks up. They actually fit in there not too bad. I left this open and wide and spacious for maybe tomato plants. You can probably get 2 for sure. Maybe 3, it's hard to say. Right now I'm just setting things, you know, I'm just whatever. I want to keep this close by. I've got a lot of little projects that Andre can do. So some of these things he can do out here. And then of course this used to be Andre's little desk, right? And it would be great for Alea May. And then there's the easel there, a couple of easels. So I'm going to see if I can get on with trying to get this all fixed up over the next week or 2 as best as I can, and then let Alea May play with it for a little while anyway, as we can work on plants. And I have microscopes, and you know, I have all kinds of stuff, right? You know, this is the X Club, right? See, there's tomato plants there, but the ones in the what do you call it, greenhouse, are some of them are getting bigger. Now mind you, I don't have no time for nothing. This is not level yet. There's Scooby-Doo. So hold on. And don't forget, I'm going to be pulling this out later, over the next few days or so, or whatever it is, right? And I'm going to be running reflector on here. And then I have to get something that I can hang here. But I also have to try and waterproof it more, right? You know, that's just the way it's been for me, people. It's been kind of fucking rough over the years. Like, it's the hardest house I ever lived in. I swear. Hardest house I've ever lived in. I have a break and I'm just going to call it a day. Yeah, I don't want to complain. I'm happy to have the X Club. It's been a good room. Right, in terms of just, I think if I can just, over the next week, it'll work out good. I'm gonna lay a man here painting and doing some planting with, I don't know, we'll figure it out. I got these things, right? I can put them into clay pebble pots with, you know, solution underneath it, right? That's the whole point of the exercise. And see how they grow, right? I have everything I need to set up a fairly functional system or 2. I just don't know how. Because I bought, over a period of a year, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. And now I just, so. This will be a good room for this learning exercise. And then eventually at some point, even when I have time, get into Mr. Lace's cat house and insulate it better, add whatever it needs to be done, and turn that into a grow room too, because I have a 4-foot light. Here I have something like 5 or 6 2-feet LED, you know, grow lights, so I'm going to run them on the racks, right? Set up a little timer. That's what I mean, you're learning, right? And I've got these little domes. No, whatever. You know what I mean? Kid stuff. I'm always thinking about kids. Anyway, I keep thinking about when my eyes went on me, like, really bad. They just won't go back to normal in terms of not being so cloudy. If they weren't so cloudy, it wouldn't be so bad, right? But they're just completely cloudy, like it's just one big freaking haze. And like, it just kind of came like that. I swear I got poisoned, or I came into contact with something. Either it was an energy weapon that fucking got me out in the yard, or maybe in the house, who knows. or I touched something that was contaminated with something, and then maybe I went like that. I don't know. I just don't see how it can just like that. No. It happened after December. I'm going to go into my videos. Because when I was jarring up all that food and stuff, I didn't have this problem. Nope. So I'm going to go back into my videos and see if I can kind of pinpoint. Well, I kind of know. I kind of know people. They went, like I said, when my landlady came over with her son, I don't know. They went cloudy for over 4 hours. Kind of scared myself before they kind of clear out. And that never happened to me like that before. And then, I don't know. I'd have to see when that was. Go back into my videos and then look at a few more videos, because it went back. It was cloudy like this for 4 hours, and then it kind of went back. And when it just decided to stay cloudy, I don't know. Obviously, for a while now, right? It makes it really hard to do things. But I keep doing. Reading and writing and all that is really hard. The writing goes like this. Where's my... it goes... Instead of straight, it goes... goes crooked. I missed the lines. Anyway. When I was a kid, right, I had a lot of freedom, eh? And, oh, I don't know, I was 10 years old or something like that. And we were running around in Victoria with my girlfriend. We'd go to the Provincial Museum in those days, and, you know, it was free, right? So you could run around in there all day long. Nobody would bother you. As long as you weren't destructive or anything, they'd leave you alone. So anyway, I went into the like little tourist attractions like the Wax Museum, and then they had the miniature house. The miniature house, you go in there, everything was just really, really tiny, teeny, weeny stuff, right? Kind of makes you wonder how people can make these things so tiny. And then you hear about blind people doing stupid things like that. Well, they're not stupid, but, you know, you hear about blind people making the most stupidest things, like a really tiny little teeny weeny house, right, with all this furniture inside, lamps included. Like, who does that, right? You got to have a lot of time on your hands to do something like that, right? I'm winding down. I'm calling it a day here. I gotta go get blueberries. I gotta water a few things and go get bit by a whole bunch of mosquitoes. I'll carry on tomorrow. I just wanted to get an idea of what I've been doing, right? And now I have to go gather up all the insulation, and I have to look for the staple gun. I have to look for the caulking gun. I gotta look for some kind of silicone, anything I can find, because we have to fix this porch. This whole porch is rotting out, eh? Wood rot. It spreads, right? Once the wood on the floor starts to rot out, it just spreads out, right? I don't know. This porch should have been replaced a long time ago. But the X Club kept it up all these years. Never came crashing down. Anyway. It's been so hot for like 4 days, 5 days. Alright, we'll be back.